Hi. Today we're going to be talking about a show that if you haven't already heard about, you probably don't have a child, and it's called K-pop Demon Hunters. So this is a show that was released on Netflix over the summer, depending on where you lived in the world. It's an animated Netflix movie about a trio of three female friends who are demon hunters and in a K-pop band together. It's rated PG, but it also has a lot of violence in the form of battles with demons, but there's no nudity and there's not a ton of overt sexualization. If you compare it to, say, like a Barbie cartoon, I still see why they rate it as PG, but definitely don't take PG as like Winnie the Pooh PG. What I like about it as a mom, really strong depictions of female friendships. These strong female friendships really take precedence in this movie. The female friendships are for real female friendships. Like, men are not the center of the movie. That really comes through. Another thing I really like about it is that it's really about their own internal journey to be accepting of who they are and to accept the dark and the light sides. You can have dark and light elements, and that's totally okay because it's about balance and self acceptance and being honest with yourself and with your loved ones, your close girlfriends, about that darkness and that light at the same time. I think that's a really healthy message for boys and girls, and I really loved how consistent that message was through the show. It got turned on at a play date without me knowing because it was at somebody else's house. And low key, I started watching it and I was like, this is an adult movie because it was that funny. You can watch it as an adult. It doesn't put anyone down and it doesn't resort to cheap laughs. You probably are up to here already with jokes about poop and jokes about indirectly about poop and stuff like that. But this type of humor in K-pop Demon Hunters, funny slapstick humor. We'll get a little bit later to why it's so slapstick because it turns out that it's pretty intentionally slapstick and it doesn't put anyone down. Bodies are extended female hourglass figures, but they're not super sexualized, again, compared to the average Netflix show. It really depicts female characters as wearing what they want to wear. So there's a lot of scenes where they're lounging in their rabbit slippers and a hoodie, like an oversized boyfriend hoodie, and pajama pants. And I was like, that's what we do. Then there's an equal amount of screen time given to them being totally comfortable being themselves, changing into K-pop attire, and no emphasis is placed on this is how a girl wakes up looking, right? So I really liked that. It just felt like the female characters could really be themselves in a way that I don't see frequently. Something I wasn't thrilled about as a mom, there's some violence, right? So don't watch this movie with your kids expecting there not to be violence. There are no guns, so if you make a distinction in your family between gun violence versus non-gun violence, that this might be good for you. This is like a little loophole for you because the violence is ancient Asian weaponry, so like sabers and swords and magically themed weapons. And yeah, there's blood, right? Like when people get cut, they bleed. I'm pretty sure some like eyeballs explode and stuff like that, but they keep it non-gratuitous. As somebody who absolutely does not allow gun depiction in our house, even play guns, I didn't find this to be a problem. Like I said before, the anime style of the characters, the physical bodies, are definitely exaggerated. So it's like big eyes for the girls, and it looks like they're always wearing makeup. All of the boys have swimmer's builds. So that could come across in a way that could rub you wrong. The film does really poke fun at how celebrity culture is. As an adult, you would know that the directors and the script writers are rolling their eyes with that scene. But if you're a kid, you probably are not going to pick up on that subtlety, and you're probably just going to want to do the celebrity fawning and fan clubbing that you see depicted. So let's get to how to use this movie as a talking point with your kids to build their critical thinking, because that's really the point of this. We want to be able to spend time enjoying the things that our kids enjoy without just giving them a blanket. You're not allowed to watch that until you're older. If you're co-watching this with your kid and you've already made an informed decision that this is something you want to do together, here are some quick tips and suggestions that you can use to build their critical thinking during watching or after watching. So these are like educational extensions, so they're not just passively consuming the content on the screen. While you're watching, instead of talking about what the characters are looking like, turn their attention to what the characters are doing and the choices that they're making. Like, that character just made a decision to say no to her friends because she didn't feel like that was what she wanted to do. Drawing the attention to the decision itself and how they think the character might feel about that really does focus again on positive supportive friendships, self-esteem, growth processes for an individual. What do you think they're going through and why do you think they might have done that thing? You can even narrate this out loud. You can ask the question and your kid might be like, I don't want to answer that question. And you can answer your own question. This is actually one of my favorite things to do. I'll talk to myself during movies or during TV shows with the kids. So you ask a question and they won't answer, but you can answer your own question and say, well, maybe they might be feeling blank, or I wonder whether another way to look at it is blank, right? And you sort of just leave that sentence hanging in the air. And your kids absorb all of this stuff. You can probably circle back to it the next time you're driving them to soccer or you're, out treating them to ice cream and you have leverage. Another idea that I had to come up with because kids will not stop singing the theme song. It was just like this song on repeat wherever you go, like the mall, the school, even on school campus. PE teachers will play it to get the kids activated. Every play date, even if the song isn't being played, kids in your vicinity will just be singing it. And all it takes is one lyric to get your kid to stand up on a table and start singing this on repeat for the next 4 hours. So I decided to not drive myself crazy. One of the ideas is learning the dance routine to the song and teaching the kids. So that's something we're working on right now. And we want to build some skills into this song so that you can help them move their body or come up with your own dance routine. Another fun extension that you can consider, depending on whether your kid likes to watch movies or maybe history or something like that, or they like comedy and stand-up, is watch a Charlie Chaplin short movie because the director and the creator of K-pop Demon Hunters said that her top influence for the type of humor and comedy style in K-pop Demon Hunters was from her love of Charlie Chaplin and that type of slapstick humor. I absolutely love that I get an excuse to watch Charlie Chaplin. It's a really great excuse. It's a black and white movie that wasn't made digital, and this is the type of humor. There's no words. Why do you think there are no words, right? Or you can just like watch it and not talk. The last tip is if you have an older kid and you're watching this movie with them, try and change the focus. The amazing and talented female singers, producers, directors, animators who are actually behind the film. So I'm going to give you a quick 4 talking points. Did you know that the director, writer, and creator of the entire film is a Korean-Canadian filmmaker named Maggie Kang? Did you know that this movie is the highest grossing original film on Netflix in history? Asian Canadian woman did it. So amazing. Did you know that Maggie Kang grew up from an early age loving and watching films with her dad, and he showed her lots of Hollywood classics, including Indiana Jones, Star Wars, but he also did really classics like Kubrick, all those greats. Did you know that Maggie Kang loved drawing growing up? So if you have a kid who loves drawing, tell them this. She loved drawing growing up, and that made her want to go to film school and animation school in Canada. And at school, she was recruited straight to work in Hollywood. So use some of these tips to get the conversation started, to build critical thinking with your kids at home. I hope you found some of this useful.